a lot of folks that are trying a lot of things or contemplating a lot of things that just aren't going to change the world for the better. They're not going to move the needle on climate change. There are billionaires. I've spoken with one who says, I've got my cave all picked out in the Northeast, and I've got it stocked with provisions. I could go there within 24 hours. I can live in my cave and be safe. And if the bombs drop, or if the global warming floods everything or burns everybody up, I'll be fine because I've got all my recorded movies and everything, and I've got food and I've got water and air conditioning in my cave. And I might suggest that they probably really haven't thought that through, because it's really not that much fun to live in a cave, even if it's well furnished. There's no social process in a cave. There's not nearly so much possibility for a fulfilling life. And of course, you might then feel a little bad for the millions or billions of people that were suffering outside your cave. The metaverse is if you've ever seen a movie called Ready Player One, a sci-fi movie of the future where everybody hooks into an artificial reality or virtual reality environment, and they can be anything they want and do anything they want. Right now, from what we understand, Microsoft is contemplating the generation of, I'm not saying that, some sort of virtual reality environment which everybody can work together or play together. And that might be a wonderful escape. And that said, that's not necessarily going to keep the Titanic from steering towards the iceberg collectively. If society collapsed, there's always the potential for the wealthy and the powerful to create fiefdoms that have little sequestered areas where they're king or queen, and where they've got power and money, and everybody has to do what they want. That would be a turning back time into a less functional environment. Different nations, some are imagining themselves as potentially operating independently from other nations and just cutting themselves off from the world and surviving as everybody else collapses, and not trying to help anybody to work together collaboratively as a global community, and as challenges increase due to global warming, resource access, etc. Of course, there's always denial, and that's an avenue, and distraction that people would go to. There's also nations such as China and other nations that are trying autocratic domination as a way to get people to work together. There are people who are contemplating putting millions of tons of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, which is a toxin, by the way, and which will kill people, some of them, and will damage their lungs over time. And it would also potentially cool the planet. And that is something that's literally, there's a patent out on that technology as an option to cool the planet in the future. Isn't that just amazing? Again, denial, distraction, wishful thinking, and just ignorance, willful ignorance, being unwilling to get on the same page with what's really happening, focusing on just having a good life, enjoying our lives, keeping our own lives ticking along and in a way that we enjoy. Devolution to the good old days that can't work anymore. We can't make the whole world an agrarian lifestyle and not have mass death and suffering as the world would fall apart. Not trying to stop the problems from developing, occurring, mutating, and increasing. Assuming that we can technologically adapt and only do that, which is not an option. We could choose to start wars and decrease the population of other nations via that process, or dominate them into submission and us getting what we want at their expense. And there are nations that have contemplated that, as far as we understand. Population decrease globally through attrition, whether it's through COVID or some released bioagent, i.e. via various unwanted means, or simply letting the have-nots be flooded, starve, not have necessary resources to continue their lives. Just acclimating to the increasing pain and suffering as the complex challenges increase. There are lots of fragmented, myopic books and documentaries that are being produced that are not giving a comprehensive picture of the overall situation. Simultaneously, they're not offering a comprehensive solution that is cohesive and will really work and will transform the world and is sustainable. And of course, there are plenty of political movements and social movements that have not, as of yet, gotten adequate traction to move the needle on climate change in our world. And they also have other agendas that are not sustainable life process focused at all. Pork barrel projects, if you will, and agendas for special interest groups that are kind of diluting of any potential for a comprehensive, cohesive strategic approach. We want to go ahead and list all these so that it can be understood what is being done, what can't work, what won't work, when, where, how, and why it won't work, and how we can actually change to something that will, and what is required within each of us as individuals and as collectives to bring that transformational shift about.